Hi and welcome everybody to Constitutional Monday. Today is our daily broadcast of we have switched the time around to 5:30 Eastern for those of you that want to be able to make Constitutional Mondays. So from now on, moving forward, we're going to start doing our weekday broadcast. And if you go to hobotuck.com/live, you will be able to see the schedule, and if you want to listen live, you can definitely do that. So just to give you a legal disclaimer, because we are getting into that realm with the content that we're going to be talking about today. So nothing in this broadcast constitutes legal advice. I am not an attorney. I do not provide legal representation. What you're hearing is based on my experience, my research, and my survival. Why do I have to say this? Is because the same system that I'm warning you about uses legal codes to silence people like me, especially when we start giving you the tools to escape its jurisdiction. So no, this is not legal advice. It is a map, and what you do with it, that's on you. Okay? So welcome to the Survival Broadcast. This isn't a podcast. It's not a performance. It's a war briefing. I go live every weekday to break down one threat to your freedom and one strategy to survive it. Each day has a theme. Monday is Constitutional Monday, which we talk about constitutional survival. Tuesday is privacy and censorship, so Privacy Tuesday. Wednesday is community building. Thursday is digital homesteading and economy. And Friday is spiritual clarity and inner strength. Be sure to tune in at 5:30 Eastern Standard Time, Monday through Friday, for these broadcasts. Today is Constitutional Monday, and what we're going to be talking about is custody. Not just of your rights, but your name, your movement, and your legal status. And why this illusion of protection is the most dangerous lie you've ever believed. Okay, so what is the threat? There is an article that was just recently released. It is called, so the new DHS just shut down Quiet Skies. If you've heard of it, I'd like to hear it down in the comments. And a secret air marshal program that was placed thousands of Americans under surveillance with no charges and no transparency. So you guys have probably heard like how Tulsi Gabbard was on this list, and how anybody that they feel to be a dissident or doesn't agree with them politically gets put on this list. Well, that has now been officially disbanded. Okay, but here's the key point. It ran for years. It cost $200 million and never caught a single terrorist. What the deeper threat of these systems is that these systems are never aimed at the guilty. They're built to create guilt through custodial profiling. Okay, and we're going to get a little bit more into this today and go forward. So you guys might be wanting some proof, okay? Because a lot of people, they hear this stuff and they're going like, yeah, okay, whatever. People say things all the time. You're just some naysayer. Why are you saying something like this? Okay, when you're homeless, you're monitored daily. Not because of what you've done, but because of who you are. It becomes so normal, so baked into survival, that you forget it's not supposed to be that way. Okay, nonprofits, they hand out broken bags that tear open on the street. And this isn't by accident. You guys have heard me talk about this a lot. It's trash. It identifies you. It lets them know where your camps are so that they can come and keep an eye on it. In a lot of ways, whether you realize it or not, this is how the judicial system, when you're homeless, this is how they're tracking you. Police know exactly who you are based on the debris trail. That's not charity. It's a tracking system. And see, a lot of the stuff that they're giving us is given to us by saying, hey, we're here to help you. We're here to fix this problem. If you want us to help you fix this problem, this is what we're going to do. So when you're homeless, what is the problem that they want to fix? They want to fix the fact that you're homeless, and they want to give you resources and give you all this stuff. But yes, all these resources that are given to you are also used against you. So when you see the homeless and you see them out there and you see them in this pile of trash, most of the stuff that they give us is trash. That's just the way it is. There's no other way to there's no other way to say this. Okay, So they say it's for resource allocation or record keeping, but every time you check in, every service that you get, every benefits that you get, that data goes right back to law enforcement for various reasons, especially if you mark yourself as being homeless. Okay, and when the cops are low on their quota, and yeah, don't let them lie to you, the quotas do exist, and I'm going to tell you a story about it because they are real. Oh, shit. I'm pouring myself a cup of coffee. I just poured it in my ashtray, guys. All right, hold on a second. Let me pay attention to what I'm doing. Okay. I was in the back of a cop car once, and while I was in the back of the cop car, I got to listen to the police officers, and what I'd done, what it was like, I don't know, it was like a Class C misdemeanor. It's labeled as a trespass, but what they did and what they ended up doing is they tried to add a bunch of other charges so that it could add up to a felony. Why did they do something like that? Well, it turns out they were talking about a competition that was going on because one officer was asking the other officer if he was in first place or not on the felony competition. So now they give these police officers bonuses and incentives to be able to go out there and get extra money for labeling you as a felony and so on and so forth. Why? Because all crimes are commercial to begin with. Okay, there is a penal sum attached to every crime, and so therefore, just like any business, you have to help so many customers because a portion of what that customer pays to the business goes to pay your wages, and so therefore you've got to be able to. So I worked for a network consulting firm. He charged, let's say, 250 hours, $250 an hour or something like that. This is San Francisco IT, especially a consulting service, pretty spendy. Okay, especially when you're working with corporations and you're doing really intricate stuff. Well, a portion of that, I had to do a minimum of 2 billable hours per week in order to justify my wage. Now, I was always encouraged to do more. I would end up doing about 15 to 20 billable hours per week, which therefore allowed me to, really bring value to my job. Well, the same thing goes on within any other job, including the police force. For what reason? It's very simple. It's a financial incentive. The system is trying to incentivize these officers to focus more on felonies than misdemeanors by giving that bonus. But instead, what happens is these people, in order to be able to get that bonus, are going to add charges onto you so that they can get it. So therefore, a Class C misdemeanor or something that would be considered a traffic ticket could now turn into higher charges because the police officer is being given incentive. And for the homeless, we're low-hanging fruit because they on average they have drugs on them, they have alcohol on them, they're trespassing. There's so many things. It's basically illegal to be homeless, and so this is why this is such a big deal, especially when you're dealing with the homeless community. Okay, because if they're low on their quota, you're now become a target. So you may hear people talk about this stuff. And I see how deep this rot really does go. I was in the middle of a Portland housing crisis, trying to get by, sleeping where I could. I didn't know I was staying in what locals called the drug highway. So in Portland, the soccer team won the national championship, whatever that is. It's like the Super Bowl equivalent. And what that did is that brought so much money into Portland that all the landlords, because you could do a no-cause eviction, they just evicted 2/3 of the city, and you couldn't find a place to live for like within 100 miles. I was renting a hotel room for a while, but it was so costly. I was like, no, I'd rather sleep in my car. My girlfriend's like, well, here, I got a friend we can go stay with. Turns out her friend was married to a cook for an organization. I'm just going to leave it at that, just because I don't need to divulge all of the details. But essentially, he was a cook, and we're not talking about cooking food. We're talking about a different type of cook. For those of you that understand what I'm talking about, and his wife was unmedicated bipolar. He was just as batshit crazy, And, he also did what he cooked. And so when my girlfriend decided that she wanted to end the relationship, they conspired together in a specific way that because the cops were on payroll, because the cops were basically on payroll, they were bragging about it. The cop made up a false confession, and I got labeled as a violent criminal when I did no such thing. Okay, this is the reality of the situation and how it's degrading. Depending upon where you're at, you might be in a safe area, but if you're not, like if you're here in Arizona, I see some of the same things here that I saw in Oregon when I was staying in that same place. I'm not saying this place is, but I'm saying it's very ripe for it just because of some of the things that I've seen on the side. So anyways, I wanted to make sure. So that's basically how they used the law to assist a robbery and flip the script. The worst part of all of this is I'm versed in the civil side. I'm not really big on the criminal side because I've never had to deal with any criminal charges. But this was like my biggest wake-up call. Is that for any reason they can make up anything and it becomes your word versus theirs. And because they're an officer of the court and they're already presumed, whether they're crooked or not, they're already presumed to be the honest one. Because you are the dishonest one because you're a criminal, and there's no more presumption of innocence until proven guilty. Okay, so hey, if any of you guys in the green room want to ask questions during this, just go ahead and put something in the chat if you want to. Okay, so here's a good teaching moment though. They haven't broken the Constitution; they've bypassed it. Okay, everyone thinks that the Constitution is being ignored. It's not. It's being legally circumvented.